What's up, everybody? It's Anis Taylor.
It's Cody and Anis.
And we are here with a new episode of the SnapRefund Podcast, coming to you live from Boulder, Colorado.
Let's get it. Man, what are we doing here, man?
Why don't you tell the audience what we're doing in Boulder, Colorado?
So SnapRefund is incredibly proud to be a member of the newest Techstars Boulder Cohort. SnapRefund is a proud member of the Summer 2023 Techstars Boulder class.
What does that mean? Why don't you explain to the people that really don't know what Techstars are? There's a lot of founders that follow us that do know what it is, but for somebody that really doesn't have an idea what an accelerator is, why don't you lay out the groundwork of really the importance of SnapRefund being a part of Techstars?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, Techstars is an accelerator, like Anis said. What accelerators are groups of really mentors at the end of the day that are helping you build your business, helping you find out the things you need to be successful and scale. Now, as far as accelerators go, Techstars is like the Ivy League of accelerators. Some of the unicorn companies that have billion-plus dollar valuations have walked through this exact same office that we're sitting in right now. So it's super exciting.
That's beyond exciting, especially when you're talking about billion-dollar valuations. That's the type of business that we're trying to build from day one. When we really came to you with this podcast, we were founders that were just starting with we had an idea, but really not a clue in how to go about to getting to that next level. And we've just been learning on our own, and to be able to share this with you guys, and you could be a part of this and letting you know, wow, here we are. We've been in the same type of environments that companies that's been valued at billion. IPO companies have come out of here, especially the Techstars Boulder Accelerated. This is the OG. This is the original one. This is where Techstars really made their name from. And now SnapRefund is a part of that. So let's kind of let people know how we really got through this process. What were the steps that we had to take to actually be here today?
Well, it goes even beyond the application process itself. That's, of course, like the direct point where we started to ingrain ourselves and the chance to end up sitting here. But it really started from day one when we started the company, right? Everything we did up to this point was necessary to get us here. And what that really means, I really wanted to make sure when we applied to Techstars that we gave ourselves the best chance possible to make it in. So I was reading the thesis for this cohort. You know, investors have a thesis. It's their guiding principle or hypothesis on what they're going to be investing in out of a fund and why they're going to be making those investments. This thesis was about fintech. SnapRefund is fintech. So I went and tried to make sure I understood what they were looking for. I did my homework there. Anis and I went through this process where we were on a couple of calls, made it to the final round interview, and Techstars ultimately judged the potential of SnapRefund. And I think that's one of the biggest things about getting an accelerator like Techstars. It's not necessarily about what you've done to date traction-wise, although we do have some exciting news there too. It's more about what is the place that what you're doing can go. What kind of height can it reach? And I was just talking to the managing director, Malta.
Shout out to Malta.
Shout out Malta. Shout out Callie. Shout out Sylvia.
Sales,
absolutely. Shout out the entire Techstars Boulder team.
And Coach Keith.
Yes, Coach Keith.
Yeah.
So even we got John. There's a whole
range. Yes.
So I was talking to Malta, and I was asking him a little bit about, what this process was like on their side. And he was dropping a few gems on some of the things they look for. And he was saying one of the things that they really like to see is when you have a strong founding team. And what that means is a technical co-founder at least and a non-technical co-founder being able to work together. And through that, I started to realize that's part of the strength of what SnapRefund has been from the beginning is the things that I can't do, Anis will do. The things that Anis can't do, I'll do. And that gave us a really good shot at making it in. That's just kind of like table stakes. Beyond that, we had to actually have this fintech thing, this awesome idea, product, offering that would be able to grow and take directions that we can't even predict today. And that's what SnapRefund is as a product and as a platform. So Techstars saw that. We gave ourselves the best chance we could, and sometimes you win.
And voila. And this is a win for SnapRefund, especially going through the journey that we've been through. we've talked to you guys as we've been doing this podcast about those moments that really give you life. One of that was last summer when we were in Milwaukee. That was special, and just being a part of Northwestern Mutual Black Founders Accelerator, working with the Generator team, getting the experience that we gained to, one, know that we belong. We are an investable company. The idea is great. The work that we've done to the point from the idea to going live has been fantastic. People are investing in us. They believe in us. But I think the key that we've been able to gain the most throughout this process is the experience. Every step of the way we've been gaining experience. And that's also another reason why we want to do this podcast, is to share those experiences and the learnings that we've had with you, so it's a little bit easier for you guys, right? I love the work that we're doing, but we wouldn't have been able to get here without the mentors that we've had and the people that have guided us and given us the different ideas that, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this, maybe you should try doing this, that has really increased the value in our company. If there's one thing that you could say from the beginning of the year, because when we had our podcast at the top of the year, we were in California.
That's right.
What are some of the things that have happened since then to the point that we are now in the summer of 2023 that is really making you go like, okay, this can really work?
We signed our first insurance client in March. Huge.
That's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Insurance sales are hard. It's hard. It takes a long ass time.
I mean, they've been following us. They know how hard it is. Yes, it is.
It
and
is.
Signing the first one is a big deal.
Yeah, going from 0 to 1 is really tough. So we signed our first insurance client in March. Super dope. Then we got an investment from Drexel University and the Rainier Fund.
Shout out to Drexel. Shout out to Philly. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Shintaro, the whole team, thank you so much for believing in us, and we will continue to make you proud. Then we got invested in by Techstars, but right before the program kicked off this week, we actually signed our second insurance client. So we've got more news coming out there for you. It's been a whirlwind, and the crazy part is too, I would be so inauthentic if I didn't also talk about how many lows there were between those things. I mean, our runway was shrinking. We only had a couple thousand left realistically by the time we got to the next stage of funding we're at now, that have given us this immense potential for growth through the investments we've been pulling in since we got the Drexel and now Techstars. Our round is open, it's filling up, it's becoming more and more subscribed. We're going to get that finish line very soon with it. And it was not easy, and there's so much uncertainty along that path. So anyone listening to this, I just really want to hammer in, like, don't be confused by victory laps. We're excited to get to talk about something that went well, but there's so much that it takes to get to a moment like this. I mean, it's like, I almost feel like a 10-to-1 ratio. It's like 10 L's, 1 W.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of how it goes. What's kind of stuck out for you since we did that podcast episode back in January?
Having faith. If you look back and listen to that podcast, you will hear in our voice that we had faith that something big was going to happen to us. We had no idea of Techstars and being a part of this accelerator. We knew who Techstars were, but we didn't know we were at that level. We knew we were doing great things, but that one, I mean, being here, I couldn't have told you we were going to be here in January.
It's not
1st.
real until it's real.
Until it's real. So that having faith, that happened. Being able to sign 2 insurance clients, not 1, but 2 insurance clients this year alone, that gives us even more validation. So I think those are really the key that for me that I felt that something big is going to happen. I could just tell. And I'll tell you why I felt something big was going to happen. Because we were doing the work. There was no shortcuts. Cody and I have not been paid. We don't have a salary. Like, we're really doing this off of our sweat equity. The money that we raise is going to the product, is going to the business. This is such a long game. But the fact that we believe in ourselves to actually go through this process, it is what has gotten us here. And I have news for you, Cody. Where we're going to be at next summer is going to be further than this. And that's the beautiful thing about being a founder. And I think that's been the beautiful thing about this journey.
I'm really getting LeBron vibes, and it's Miami. Not 1,
Yeah,
not 2,
not
not 3.
4.
But we're actually.
Yes. Really?
Shout out LeBron. Man, it's just wild too. Like, you really never know how anything's gonna go, but the only thing you can control really is just your effort.
Yeah.
You know, and it's tough too because a lot of you out there will go through this. We've been through this with past businesses before, where sometimes your best effort doesn't give you the best outcome, and it's not always gonna be something that ends in this fairy tale ending.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's not easy, but just know that, like, if you're in a situation like, you know, you didn't fail. You just went through something and you learned something, and if you let it be, it'll be something better the next time around.
Yeah. You know, one thing that's really sticking out to me, you were talking about LeBron, and shout out to LeBron, but shout out to the Denver Nuggets. Straight up. And I'll tell you why. The Denver Nuggets built a team, believed in that team, stuck with that team. The personnel on that team did the work. They went through losses, bounced back, picked themselves up, and won an NBA championship. That right there is the definition of how you become a champion. It's not what you do when you're up, it's how you react and how you pick yourself up when you're down. And that's what a lot of the things that we've been able to do has led towards that success. It hasn't been about when we're up. It's really about those moments that we've been down, that we've had to buckle up and really strap up our boots and go to that next level. For instance, when we were at $1,000, like, we did not have any runway to pay our bills. And that's not even including our salary. We're not getting paid, but we have to pay so many other people. We have to pay for platforms, for software. I had no idea what was going to happen, really. And just having faith, buckling down, doing the work, still dealing with the customers. Nobody knows that here we are going through all this turmoil, but we're still pumping out the work. That, to me, is the sign of a champion. And being here in Colorado, in Boulder, and still feeling that energy from Denver and getting to experience the winning that the Nuggets had this year and watch it and see it, that's really what I'm feeling right now. So when you're saying that vibe, like, yeah, I'm feeling like a champion. And that's today, you know. Let me ask you something. Here we are, Techstars Boulder. We've made it to this accelerator. We have our two first clients that we're looking to work with. Where do we go from here?
Now is the time for us to really dive deep and take a scientific approach into customer discovery. That's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about the Accelerator so far. It's been an amazing kickoff week. Shout out to Ali Lawn. She's the entrepreneur in residence here at Techstars Boulder. And she's already been really resolute in teaching us to go into this product market fit journey with an unbiased mindset in a way where we can really find out what are the pain points to really solve and what are the patterns to identify. Because every entrepreneur is really doing that to some degree, but it's really easy to take an approach that introduces confirmation bias or subtle assumptions that you don't realize are assumptions. And you make a few of those too many, and sometimes you end up in situations that are really hard to come back from. We're really fortunate in that we're at a point now where we can capitalize on an approach like this, especially with our first two insurance clients that we're launching with, learn a lot from them, learn from lookalikes to them, and take that and accelerate it into amazing product, something that really solves the things that we don't think they need, we know they need, because we're taking it straight from them.
Yeah. Within taking that scientific approach, what are the things that we are going to be able to do now as opposed to what we were not doing in the beginning? Just being more scientific as opposed to being more feeling.
Yeah, so I've been selling really hard, right? But one thing that I've learned in this is that taking a step back from selling and just focusing on learning can be really powerful, because when you're selling, you're introducing bias into the conversation. For example, like if I ask you right now, hey, are you ever cold sometimes at night? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, well, would you be less cold if I sold you a sweater?
I would be less cold, yeah.
Right. But what I just did there is I made him go down the path that I wanted him to go down to say he needs a sweater. Maybe what he really needs is a blanket. But because I asked in a way that led him to that conclusion, I'm now thinking, cool, let me go buy 1,000 sweaters. But really what I should be asking is, what do you think the best way to get warm is? And that's kind of the change in mindset here that I've been learning. How's it been for you?
That right there, that example is a perfect example, because being able to really identify that, and especially with that technique that you just performed, is something that has already been leading us to victories, right? Getting those 2 closed deals. It was all about the messaging. It was all about the the framing of it. But more important than the framing of it was having the idea through market research to already come to them with what they need without them knowing that they need it, but in a way that gave them the decision. So giving the client, hey, yeah, you might need a sweater because it is cold, as opposed to, oh, well, maybe I can use a blanket, right? I think those type of techniques is the value of when you're a part of an accelerator like Techstars Boulder, is that they can actually give you a scientific formula that you can actually apply and see the results. That right there is what gets me excited. And I'm excited to learn even more, because not only does it come to the sales, we're a startup. What about when it comes to funding? What about when it comes to term sheets? What about understanding what an agreement is? Give me an example of a term sheet or some terms that maybe a founder has not yet experienced, that they probably will hear but really don't know, and maybe just say it and then explain really what terms can look like, and kind of give them a little bit of an idea of how that flow goes.
Yeah, a really common instrument for raising funding right now are convertible notes. Evolved or variation on that would be what you call a safe, simple agreement for future equity. So these are ways to essentially hedge against the future value of a company before you're actually performing the revenue or traction that would justify a higher value. The reason why these things exist is because, say Anis starting a company today, he knows he needs $1 million to get going, but his company has no revenue, so it's not worth $1 million on paper yet. Well, how does he get $1 million in investment without giving away the whole company to get the million? That's where an agreement for future equity comes in, because then you're saying, I'll take $1 million today from my investor, and in 3 years, or after I raise the next 2 million beyond that 1 million, whatever the company's worth then, you'll get an equivalent amount of equity at that point. And that is coming at a discount. So then you're giving me a coupon to say, if the company's worth $5 million when that convertible note, that safe, executes or matures, now, if the company's worth $5 million, I put in $1 million originally, I own 20%. But because you have to reward me for taking a risk on you as an investor early on, when it's very likely that it will fail, you give me a discount. So if you give me a 10% discount, now I'm getting $1,100,000 worth of shares instead of just $1 million worth of shares. So it gives me a little bit more incentive to take a risk on you as an investor. Really common tool. Definitely know how to use it to your advantage as a founder. Very important in today's economy.
That's why we're here, right? That's why we're part of this accelerator. And an accelerator like Techstars, they know the value when you educate the startup or educate the founders in ways that are going to make them more valuable in the long run. A lot of VCs out there, they wouldn't want Cody to really have all that understanding of how terms, safes, convertible notes work, because possibly they want to take advantage of our company. But within this accelerator, they're giving us all the tools to let us know how we could be the most effective that we can be. I mean, a huge benefit that has been for me has been the books that they've already provided.
Oh yeah, they gave us homework.
They definitely gave us homework. The good thing for me is I like homework. You know,
and he used to be a teacher, by the way.
I did, by the way. And
that's Mr. Taylor.
So being able to take that experience of being a teacher and really valuing education, I'm taking full advantage of being an accelerator like this to really get all the nuggets that I possibly didn't know in the past to learn now and to utilize that for the future so I can get a better outcome. That to me is really the strong value.
Yeah, and to think about it as it relates to what's coming up here, what are you most excited about as we close this episode out for what we have coming up for the rest of the summer and beyond?
I'm excited to take all the learnings. I'm excited to utilize the Techstars network, the resources that we're going to gain from being a part of this accelerator, and just continuing to get wins, make more sales, build a better product. Now we can pay our developers to build a product that we've been dreaming about. We don't necessarily have to worry about that. We can actually do it and bring that product that we know that's going to make real meaningful change to the insurance industry. That's really one of the reasons why we got into this, is because we want to give people greater control of their money. So just knowing the future that is coming, honestly, I don't even want to assume what's going to be out there, because I've already put this grand vision in my mind of what's going to happen. But the way things have been going, Cody, I think it's only going to be better. That's me. How about yourself?
Yeah, I have really good feelings too. I've been on this ride long enough to know that every up has a down, but every down has an up. And with that, I'm ready for whatever's coming.
Yeah.
My eyes are wide open. I'm more focused and locked in than I've ever been in my life for anything. And now's the time to really get it.
Yeah, yeah. We love to leave giving advice, just any nuggets that we could share to the listeners out there that can really help them in their journey. Is there anything that you could shed light from where we started? This is episode 12. I mean, we're really churning this thing out. Any advice that we could give our listeners to just really talk about the growth that we've had from day one to where we're at now, that possibly is going through the same type of journey and looking for the same type of success? At this stage, because obviously we all want more success. Sorry to interrupt, but just at this stage that we're at, that we could shed light to some of the other founders out there.
Yeah, I would say just make sure you take every chance you can to prepare for an interview or an application process for whoever it is you're meeting, right? Prospect, customer, accelerator, VC, potential hire, co-founder. The better prepared you can be in understanding, trying to get in their head and know how they think before you talk to them, the more likely you'll be able to have a good conversation that leads to an outcome that you want. What about you?
Advice I give you is, one, tap into your friends and network of people that you know that are in a similar path or similar journey that you're going on, and leverage those relationships to inspire each other. One of the really cool things about being part of Techstars Accelerator, especially here in Boulder, is the other co-founders that are in our cohort, and just getting to work with them and being inspired with so many of them. Brilliant ideas, amazing product, but also going through the hardships that we're going through, and being able to lean on them to have those discussions on how we can get through these humps, but also even better, being inspired by the products that they're creating, gaining new ideas on how we can make our products better, and then delivering that to the customer in this entire ecosystem of your network. So I share, lock in with people that you know that are going through a similar journey. Learn from them, engage with them, go through it together, inspire each other. And if you can, and you feel that you're at this stage, apply. Go online, find the right type of accelerators that you want to be a part of, the right type of teams that you're looking for, and just apply that you want to be a part, to a program that you want to be a part of. And if you get a no, apply again if you know that, hey, that's really where I want to be, because there's been so many no's that we've gotten that have led to this yes. And I think that if you can utilize that same strategy and just work through it, great things and great outcomes will happen for you as well.
I think that's a great point to say we wish you all the best. And let's see who's really listening. If you message me on LinkedIn, you can find me, Cody Eddings. You reference this episode, say you came from this podcast episode, you need help, I promise you I will make time for whatever it is you need. I'll hop on a call with you.
I think that's super valuable. Thank you for sharing that. And the same thing, we're here for you. We want to share this journey. One, it's therapeutic for us to really just kind of talk about what we're going through. But I think it's also really fun to be able to help others that are going through the same type of journey so you guys can succeed as well. I would love to hear your comments. You've been following us for some time. Leave a comment below. Tell us a little bit about what are some of the struggles, some of the journeys, some of the wins that you've been having with your companies. Let's communicate with each other, because really we want to make this a community. And with that, another episode of the SnapRefund Podcast is done. We are coming live to you from Boulder, Colorado at the Techstars Accelerator headquarters. This is our office, y'all. And we're so happy you've been a part of this journey. And we're going to keep going until we get to the moon.
That's right. I'm Cody and Anis.
And I'm Anis Taylor. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the SnapRefund Podcast. Peace, y'all.